Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Doodi Rock Albert.
Hey now! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game, episode 16. Still Got Game is the official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Doodi Rock Albert.
What's going on, my friend?
Not much. Kicking it. Today was a late day. Got out of work a little late, so we've been rushing into this. But for some reason, things seem to be like flawlessly working for now. I don't know if I should say
That's
that.
one of our more complex setups today,
Yeah.
and we set everything up in 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's unheard of.
It takes like an hour for me to normally do this when I get home, and Derek's like, "What the fuck are you doing? It's the same show every week," which he's right. I don't know why it takes me this long, but under
Maybe
pressure,
just didn't
apparently,
break stuff this time.
Yeah, I just need to be under pressure. Then it's just like we're good to go. So yeah, how you
After
doing?
the show, you just don't just tear
just
apart
throw shit,
windows,
yeah.
pull cables. You're like, fuck this, I'll do it all from scratch next week.
That's basically what I do, which is really stupid. I do that every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we hop right in the show proper? We will jump right into feedback from last week's show. Remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. And this week, we're sticking only to 2 comments because of their length. So if your call or comment wasn't used this week, we will get to it next week, I promise. We will start off with the call, and we'll roll right into the comment.
Hey, dude, I rock. This is Acid Snow. I posted in the previous episode of you guys' podcast, and I just wanted to give you guys, or at least give you a heads up that I think you went a little too hard on the player base of Call of Duty. I think you attacked the player base like in a manner that felt kind of insulting. I don't know, like you weren't. I don't care if you talk about the game being bad. Like a lot of people don't like Call of Duty for X and Y, Z reasons, but like I don't think you should attack the players themselves. Like saying, like I don't like Pokemon, but I don't know what Pokemon is, and if I were to say I hate all Pokemon players, it basically means like I kind of don't like young kids and maybe Asians as well. Anyway, have fun. Bye.
Asians got involved in there.
Whew. Yeah.
Wow.
That was that's crazy. Well, before we get in that, we'll segue right into the comment, because it also is from Acid Snow as well, the same person that just called in. So bear with me. I'm going to take a little sip here. This is long as fuck. Acid Snow comments. After listening to this podcast for 5+ years, I can honestly say that for the first time ever, I'm genuinely ashamed by what I heard. My complaint is directed at Doodi Rock regarding the language he used towards gamers that enjoy playing Call of Duty. I realized Doodi was drinking rum, and it's totally fine for us to voice our opinions of X or Y game, but what I heard here today was a genuine hate speech against both Call of Duty and its community of players. You guys are the voices of the community here at Tool to Play, and you've always set a fun and welcoming tone for the site, but this podcast felt more like I was listening to Too Young to Come. Okay. I don't play Call of Duty that much anymore, but since 2007, it's given me hundreds upon hundreds of joyful hours of play for almost an infinite number of silly reasons, but my reasons are unimportant. In my opinion, the only purpose for a game is to have fun, and at one level or another, Call of Duty accomplishes that goal for me and others who play it. To be fair, Doodi, I could tell he wasn't himself this episode. Something must have been bothering him that we don't know about, because as a listener to both Thick and Thin and Still Got Game, I know when shit's up. So I'll share my own dirty secret. I hate Pokemon, but the reason is because I'm 99% ignorant about the game, yet I seem to hate it because of how kiddie it looks. I am ashamed. And here's the quote from Doodi that I felt was way over the top. Doodi, why don't you read your own quote here?
Yeah, why not? It starts at 13 minutes in, so there was no rum involved at that point because, luckily I don't drink so fast that in 13 minutes I'm dead drunk. So this is a completely sober Doodi, just so you all know. I wanted to make that clear. This is a sober me. And I basically say, I've seen a couple of pre-reviews of Battlefield 4, and they're saying that it's going to dethrone Call of Duty. I don't think it's possible just because of the reach that Call of Duty has. I fucking hate Call of Duty. So that would be great if it did happen. I think Call of Duty is a piece of shit. I think they should stop making them immediately. I think that only fucking shitty, batty, horrible gamers that play this piece of shit crap game. But Hearing those reviews of Battlefield 4 is good. So that's the actual quote that I said yesterday. And then he finished off with saying, "Don't fall from your rocket, bro," which you've been watching the show lately. That seems to be our mantra, that we're rocket bros. So yeah.
I was going to pull the audio from last week's show, but I thought that having you read it was even more effective.
That's fine.
When you get to that, Call of Duty is a piece. I don't know. I fucking hate Call of Duty. I think that only fucking shitty, baddie, horrible gamers play that piece of shit crap game is a quality line.
There's actually a fucking it's a fucking piece of shit crap game. So you actually missed a piece of profanity that I had in there. I was actually a little bit harsher than he originally posted. Yeah. But yeah, I guess I might as well speak to this. So here, first, I gotta say this: I wasn't in a bad mood, and I wasn't drunk either. And if there's one thing that you know about me, and I responded to it a little bit in the comments as well. I love video games so much that I will, if I think a game is shit, I will say it and I will let the world know about it. But I need to preface this by saying that I played Call of Duty from Call of Duty all the way until about maybe 2 Call of Duties ago. I was a huge Call of Duty fan. I think that needs to be said. So to say I never had fun with Call of Duty or that I was like attacking the community as a whole would be me attacking myself. So that needs to be said. I participated in Call of Duty tournaments. One of the first Call of Duty clans on Tool to Play was, by the way, named Call of Duty, Doodi, and I started it and ran it. So there is no reason really to say that I'm attacking that community because I'd be attacking myself. The other part of that is whenever anyone watches our show, and this goes for Derek and everyone else, we say things that are insane, right? And we're sober almost every time that we say these things. I do think Call of Duty is a piece of shit game. And no matter, and I think one of the comments made was that if there was 1 million people or a bunch of people watching our show that I wouldn't say that. I would absolutely say that. I love video games. We don't do this for money. We have day jobs that we make money on, presumably. So we don't really care. I would say this because I truly think it's a piece of shit. I did not get the last Call of Duty. I will not get this Call of Duty. I think it has been a rehash upon shitty rehash. I think they're sucking you in every single time. I think you're playing a game based on an IP and not based on the game itself. If you still think that game is fun, that's your money. You do whatever you want. Now, when I go super far and I say you're a shitty, baddie gamer or whatever, you should take that with a grain of salt because I'm saying it comically at that point because I played Call of Duty. So, I mean, I'm a shitty, baddie piece of shit gamer as well. The irony comes into play when you say this, and it's so offensive, when in the same show, me and Derek basically shit all over the country of Canada. Way, way further than anything we said about Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty is a video game. It's a video game that I personally do not want to play anymore, and I do think it's shitty. That is a fact. I do not like Call of Duty. But when I take it to that level of, making fun of everyone else that plays it, it's the same level that Derek takes Warcraft when I play Warcraft. It's a rib on the games that we don't enjoy, and we make fun of other people for playing it. So
or Minecraft.
Yeah.
I talked a lot of shit about Minecraft.
Right.
Last episodes. I said people that play that are idiotic, retard, baby McFucks or something like that.
Something very eloquent, just like that. So really, when I say these things, and you should know as a 5-year listener, this is what I think is strange, and I think this is where personal comes into play, right? This is what happens with Tool to Play a lot. I'm not personally saying you suck, and you have probably heard us say the same thing about several games, countries, people, dogs, cats, anything. We've said this, right, in some form or another. The minute you take offense to it means you're putting yourself in personally, but you need to make sure that you understand you're not taking any of the stuff we say personally. Do I think Call of Duty is a shitty game? Personally. It is. I think it's a piece of shit.
We're equal opportunity haters.
Exactly. So, all I'm saying is don't be angry. Don't take it to that level of fall from your rocket bro. Because we're all rocket bros, right? We don't want to hurt each other's feelings. I mean,
if there was more seats on this rocket, we'd pile you on.
You'd be right in the back seat. Rocket bros all day long. So that's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't know if you have a comment yourself about this type of feedback, but I appreciate it. But the reality is, one thing I must be clear on. I'm sober when I say this. I believe it 100%. I do not think Call of Duty is a good game. But that does not mean that you can't enjoy Call of Duty. People like piece of shit games. What are you going to do?
I don't think Call of Duty is the greatest game ever either. But of all the first-person shooters that are launch titles for the next-gen console, it's the one I'm going to be playing. It's the lesser of all the evils for me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's the camp of Battlefield or Call of Duty. That's just because we're put in that camp because that's what launch titles are. I'll be getting Battlefield because I enjoy Battlefield. But I don't think Battlefield's the best game either. I didn't even play a lot of Battlefield 3 because I thought it had so many fucking problems. So I think it's a shitty game too. I think they're all shitty games. How about that? How about we just go with that?
Well said.
Well said. All right, let's move on.
All right. Well, if any of you have feedback, give us a call 773-527-2961 or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And then site-related news, I've got nothing, but I'm sure, Jay, you might have some sort of update.
Yeah, I get a little update. This is just a small tidbit, and I'm going to make this as clear as possible. It's probably going to be kind of hard because we have such a small amount of screen space. But we've been going through some mocks and some small designs about how we want to lay out things in the future. So I thought I'd give you guys just a little showing of a small section of what we're working with. This is just a line drawing, essentially, of how we want the new tool to play to be laid out when it comes to the homepage. This is just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're thinking of. So we really want to open up that homepage to make it more of a user page and have it represent everything that you do on Tool to Play as opposed to it being so news driven. So we're keeping the 2-column design because we don't want to freak people out. But that right column, if you can see now, that's the logged out state. This is just an idea, beta, nothing is built. This is just line drawings. So we keep all the news and stuff, but we want you to be able to sort content on the left based on if it's official stuff that we put out or if it's community stuff like blogs that you guys put out to make sure that new people that visit Tool to Play can actually see what you guys are doing on Tool to Play. So that includes forum stuff, blog posts, and all those other cool things that you do with your groups and stuff like that. The right side on a logged out state would be relegated to really getting people to understand what Tool to Play is. Highlight the cool taglines, learn more about it. When people sign up, how do they get involved in Tool to Play? That's how we want to represent that, on that side of the site. And then going forward, when you log in, we kind of want to have that right side really be everything you do on Tool to Play all the time, no matter what page you are. So instead of having that small little box with your, username and all that stuff, we want to have all the activity that you do on Tool to Play, the forums you go to, the groups you're involved in, the events, you can't see it, it's going to be lower on the list, the events that you're planning and stuff like that sort of are relegated on that right side to really give you anywhere you are, have access to all the things that you do on the site. So that's a really broad, just sort of mock-up that we've been fucking around with around the air, with me and a couple other friends that have been doing some of the UI stuff. But that's a small little sneak peek on what we're looking at. Obviously, they will probably change and things will be totally epically different. But I wanted to kind of just give you guys a little bit of that so you can see feedback and kind of tell me what you think of this very, very, very limited view of what we're kind of going for. And I don't think Derek's seen it either, so it's kind of a teaser for him as well. And he needs to tell me. A little teaser trailer. A little tidbit for you guys. But yeah, that's kind of where we are with site building, just ideas now, which is my favorite kind of thing of how we want things to go in the future. So you can see we're really trying to get that mix of the cool content that me and Derek produce and all the other writers and all the other people, and then the content you guys produce and kind of mix those two worlds.
It's all about the content, baby.
Goddamn straight.
All right, well, on that, why don't we slide into what we're playing? Joel, Dude, I Rock, Albert, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing a little game that shitty, baddie, horrible players play. It's called World of Warcraft. It is an awesome, epic game that all the cool kids are playing, unless you ask anyone that isn't playing it. This will be probably the second to last week or last week I do play because of the expansion's coming to a close. And it's awesome because it falls right in line with a brand new console coming out in 2 weeks. So it's perfect timing. I mean, it's awesome. Are you playing anything? Nice. Are you still playing Diablo? What are you doing?
I've been playing the shit out of Diablo 3.
Of course you have.
Yeah, I know. It's fucked up. I hate Blizzard. This is what they do. So I probably put in not a whole lot. I probably put in maybe 30 hours into Diablo 3 last week. And then probably put in 4 or 5 hours of Borderlands 2 and 6 hours of Halo 4. So,
wow.
Kind of an even balance, sort of.
It's a pretty good.
Maybe a little heavily weighted towards Diablo, but it doesn't really matter.
I'm impressed.
Yeah,
you've kept your gaming up through this drier spell. You've actually managed to find games that you can attach yourself to.
That's the key here. During that end of life cycle drought, you really had to pick things that either had some longevity in and of themselves, or things that had DLC that was inexpensive enough to keep the game fresh and new and interesting. And I think Borderlands 2 and Halo 4 were both great for that. And Diablo, just with the amount of character classes, the amount of leveling, the times you can play through on all the different difficulties and all the loot, it keeps itself interesting without even having the expansion out for that. So I think all three have been really awesome literally the outline has looked that way for probably the last 3 months now. And I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have all three of those to go back and forth between, because they definitely have kept it up and interesting that whole time.
Yeah, and I think that's the only reason I haven't had. You've been lucky in finding the games that you love. I think I got addicted to Diablo sooner than you, and I played that when it was at its shittiest. And then once you do that, everyone knows that once you play a game and you find it to be repulsive, it's very hard to go back. And they've done so many great fixes, to Blizzard's credit. So shitty baddie players aren't playing that game. But they were at the time. So, now they've done a lot of work on it. Now I'm just finding it hard to get back in. But I will actually go back in when the expansion comes out, because it's actually looking like they're doing a lot of great things. And I think getting rid of that AH is a step in the right direction as well. So,
Agreed.
Good on you for playing that game. Good on you.
All right. Well, on that, why don't we hammer into the new releases? And there's only one major new release out this week. It's a multi-platform release, and it's Call of Duty Ghosts. And this is out for the Xbox One, the PS4, the 360, the PS3, the Wii U, and the PC. And that's right, you can find this in stores starting tomorrow if you're watching this live, or yesterday if you're viewing on YouTube or listening to the podcast. But the next-gen games will actually be sitting on store shelves. Well, stores will have them, and there's nothing preventing them from putting this on store shelves. It's they're trying to get the games out there so people can see them. Who the fucking nice. Sorry. So this is the 10th game in the Call of Duty series, and it's the 6th game done by Infinity Ward. The game features a robust single-player campaign, and as we talked about in the past, it features a brand new dog mechanic that enhances the gameplay experience. Multiplayer will feature all the traditional game types that people love, plus a whole bunch of new enhanced game types. They've also introduced a new squads multiplayer mode where you build up and level your own squad, and then you take your squad out and play other people's squads from all over the world. So it's kind of a different sort of multiplayer mode. The game looks absolutely amazing, especially on the next-gen consoles. Like, it is unbelievably beautiful on these things. There's no early reviews out. There's no early review scores out for it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be fucking insane. Like, I'm gonna play the fuck out of this when it comes out, and basically this is my next gen console FPS until there's something else, until Titanfall, until Destiny,
right?
Until there's a Halo game. I will be playing the shit out of Call of Duty Ghosts.
Well, ironically, I don't know if you listened to the first part of the show. I will not be playing Call of Duty Ghosts. I will agree that I think it does look like a good game. It could come down to that. And I'll even go far as say this. It could come to that point where I buy Battlefield 4 and I don't like it. And I will, the only choice to make, and this is because of how, this launch is obviously going, is Call of Duty. So I could see myself actually buying it, believe it or not, is all the shit I've been giving it, but I just haven't pre-ordered it, and I have no intention of buying the game. I will say it looks phenomenal. Even when me and Derek were looking at what they were doing with textures and bit mapping, with the new console, it looks phenomenal what they've done with that. Feature sets aside, obviously if you're into Call of Duty, there's no reason not to buy it. So it definitely looks like a good game. It's going to be a good game for anyone that likes Call of Duty. It's going to be a good game for them. But if you're sort of sick of that IP, then Battlefield, baby, try it out, give it a shot. Call me.
I think there's enough different about Call of Duty this time that I think everybody can find some enjoyment in it, whether it's the whole dog mechanics or it's just the pretty graphical shit, like the stuff they did with, I forget what the technical name for it is, but when you're zoomed in with a sniper scope and you're seeing through the scope, but around the scope, you're also seeing the non-zoomed in version of stuff for the first time ever. It seems like something that should be simple to do, but most games just kind of motion blur some stuff on the outside so it looks like you're seeing there, but you actually can see the peripheral around you. So you're seeing what you're zoomed in on, and you see legitimately what's outside of your scope. So it's fairly realistic. It's one of the big features they were touting. Also, the ability to draw completely round shit as opposed to the old days where everything, if you really zoomed in and looked at it, it was all jagged lines. Right. And I'm looking forward to it. I don't care.
And I deserve the fuck you. It's one of those things where if you're not a Call of Duty fan, you could take all the stuff that Derek said and make fun of it, which is like, did people really need peripheral zoom? Were they was that a big, or like when they featured the fish in the swim, like we have realistic fish that move as you swim. And then all the people on Reddit basically showed the shit from Mario 64 when they were doing it back in the day, and the dog stuff. I mean, did anyone want a dog video game? I didn't know that was on the feature list. But look, hey, it could be phenomenal. I don't know. Maybe it'll get me more in touch with my Chihuahua. Maybe that's what I needed this whole time. Who knows? Looks like a super fun game.
It does.
Goddamn right.
All right. Well, speaking of super fun, why don't we fuck over into gaming news?
And since every week we love to shit on the Wii, let's keep this ball rolling with the first story. Wii Mini arriving in the U.S. With the pack-in Mario Kart for the Wii. This is via joystick. So if you don't know what this is, they talked about it a little bit, I think a couple months ago, of only being in Canada, but it's actually coming to the U.S. The Wii Mini will be in the U.S. this holiday season, which Nintendo actually announced today. The redesigned system will be bundled with Mario Kart Wii for $100, which I think is a little pricey, believe it or not, and is expected to arrive mid-November. Nintendo announced that the Wii Mini in November 2012 before launching it as a Canada exclusive that December. The micro console does not include, get this, internet activity or connectivity, limiting players to only single and local multiplayer games. That's fucking odd. Nintendo sold 35,700 units in Canada across its first 2 months, which is decent, on store shelves before bringing the system to the UK in March. Though the Wii has been discontinued in Japan, Nintendo announced that in October, the traditional Wi-Fi enabled Wii system will remain on store shelves in America. Does anyone give a fuck? And is this, what is this move here? What is the play? What is the deal with this fucking thing?
I'm trying to figure this. I couldn't figure out when the one came out in Canada last year when it was actually still remotely marginally popular among old people and babies. But I don't see the place for this. I know it's $100 and that seems cheap, but there's just it. I feel like Nintendo is cannibalizing their own market because they already have a piece of shit Wii that's super cheap that they haven't discontinued here. So you can go out and you can buy the Wii still. So why come out with something for $100 that bifurcates that market? And now you say, okay, yeah, we've got the shitty Wii for $150 or whatever it costs. Now it's got internet, it's got this, or you can get this other super shitty Wii for $100 and it's got no internet. And I just think you're going to confuse the market of the people that are already buying Wiis are the confused people to begin with. So now you're going to just give them two choices and add to their confusion. I think it's more like a big fuck you from Nintendo.
It is, right? Hey, and is it just me, or do you not feel like the Wii should be $100? Period. I actually thought this was expensive. When I read this, I was like, you know what? This should be like a $60 console. Like that would be an amazing price, right? Like you couldn't turn it down. It's a piece of shit, but it's a piece of shit that's valued as a piece of shit.
Yeah, you could make this compete with like when you go to the store and you see like the old Atari 2600 throwback for like $40, and all those throwback consoles are $40. You put this at 60, you can put your real last gen console at 100. Now at least they're the right price points for what you're getting.
Right.
It's just I just don't understand this at all.
Now I don't know if you read the news today. This came in a little bit, I think, right before I left work. Actually, the CEO essentially said that they admit that they really fucked up with the Wii U. That their latest system is a total fuck up. What I found to be so ironic about that was that Wii was still outselling Wii U. And now they're pulling it in Japan. I mean, yes, they're leaving it in the US, but this whole thing just seems like you've got the CEO that's saying, yeah, we totally fucked up on the launch of Wii U. We fucked up everything, which is, hearing that from a CEO is a big deal. Even to shareholders, I think that's a really big deal. But then to come and sell something like this, now, like you said, I feel like you're almost spitting in the face of the people that are currently have the Wii. It's like, why would you spend $100 on this piece of shit version? I just have lost all sense of reality with them. I have no connection anymore. I don't know what they're trying to do. And this just seems like another, like, let's see if we can get some more money. But
yeah, for a while, I kept in with Nintendo's products just to play the Marios and the Zeldas. And you know what? Now I'm speaking with my wallet, and I'm done buying. I'll skip Mario games and I'll skip Zelda games until they're out on some real console.
Yep.
And I don't have a Wii U. It's like I said, it's the first console I've skipped in since maybe the Atari 2600, the Odyssey, somewhere in that time frame. Like, this is a lot of fucking consoles under the belt, and the Wii U is a launch console that I have not picked up, non-portable. console. Yes.
Yeah, me too. And it's the first time I used to always buy Zelda games. That was like a big thing. I'd literally buy a system for Zelda. And that was like a tried and true thing you can get from me every single cycle, but the disconnection now with the gamer is so vast, and it's just growing day by day with Nintendo that I feel like there's no way back. And Selden in chat is saying this, and I think we've said it a million times before, which is just fucking license out the library, call it a day, go the Sega route. The problem with that, and we've discussed this as well, is obviously that they're still making money on the small hardware, like obviously their mobile shit. So I don't know how they do that, but maybe just give up on the console. Just let it go. Keep your fucking Game Boys, your Advance, all that shit, the 3DS.
Oh, they do so well with that.
They do so well.
Just make portable consoles and make games for the portable consoles.
Right.
License the IP out, or just develop it yourself, but just develop it for someone else's hardware. Like, don't turn over the reins of your premier A1 franchises to someone else. Develop your Zelda game the way you want. Develop your Mario game the way you want, but put it out on hardware that's going to showcase it and not make it seem like you're playing back, like you took your DeLorean back to go play the latest Mario game. It's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to gamers. These games look like absolute shit.
Yeah.
The Wii is a piece of shit. The Wii U is a piece of shit. Every Nintendo physical console is a huge piece of fucking shit. Now, they're portable systems. Definitely not the graphics fidelity and the quality of Sony's, but they definitely sell out there. They have a huge install base. They have a huge market base. There's like fucking more DSs sold than people in the world. Like, I don't even know how that works, but it's fucked up. But, that's something they're doing right. So just keep that market and then develop your fucking software for other people's hardware. Imagine how many more you could sell if you developed your Mario game and you had it out on PS4 and Xbox One, and your Zelda game out on PS4 and Xbox One. Now you have this huge install base instead of just your little install base of little baby bitches.
Well, you'd think that even obviously the developers would be psyched because they'd be able to finally develop on a system that got to show all their great ideas for once in their fucking life instead of living 3 generations behind everybody else. I would go so far as to say that anyone playing these fucking games are shitty, batty, horrible gamers, and they play this piece of shit system. That's what I would say.
I agree.
That's going to have to keep going.
Shitty baddie.
Shitty baddie. That's a shitty baddie. All right, so we've shit on Wii. We're probably going to shit on them again later. Who knows? But the next story is Blizzard and Bethesda veterans have founded a new breakthrough talent game studio, and this is via Gamma Sutra. So Rich Barham, an industry veteran who previously developed games at pretty kick-ass studios, by the way. So he's got a nice resume with companies like Blizzard, Bethesda, Riot Games. I don't know who JetX is. I don't know what they've been. He's from there as well.
We've had appointments with JX.
I know. I'm trying to remember what games.
But I can't remember. I can't name a single title.
But anyway, so he's got a good resume. He founded a new multi-platform game studio in the UK. Octopus 8 Studios is owned by Barham, Mediatonic senior designer Justin Parcels, and Lady Shotgun designer Chris Cox. The studio aims to release its first game, a mobile title, if you care, later this year, and a second game in early 2014. Octopus 8 has a breakthrough talent policy. Now, this is why it's kind of interesting, by which the team is aiming to hire mainly up-and-coming artists to work for Octopus 8, allowing them to potentially get a better foothold into the video game development industry. So it's kind of cool. They're looking for the new up-and-comers, the movers and shakers in the industry that haven't reached that level of they've worked on the AAA title that is the best game ever, and now you have to pay them a shitload of money and all that stuff. So they're looking for the new guys. The team believes that working with newcomers is a large part of evolving creativity for the future of the industry. So different model, probably cheaper for them as well. Is this good for the industry? Because I think people have talked about how hard it is to really generate these type of people. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is great news. So now you're taking traditionally the way that young people are introduced in the gaming world. And when people ask me, like someone at the office a couple weeks ago asked me to talk to her neighbor's son about getting in the video game industry and all this stuff, and because she obviously knows we have all these contacts. But
right.
I said either you love video games and you want to be in that industry. If you want to make any money and you're good at coding, you don't want to be in the video game industry. The video game industry is known for just chewing up and spitting out kids. They pick them up out of college at the bare minimum, and they'll work you 16, 18, 20 hours a day. And just until you are broken. And eventually you become so jaded in the industry, you leave and you find a better job anyway. So these guys are taking the different approach where they're saying, we're going to find this breakthrough talent, these guys that maybe they're out there, they're researching, college honors projects and senior theses and all this stuff. And they're saying, okay, these guys have some great shit. Let's absorb these guys in. Let's take them in. Let's take their ideas. And instead of being that machine that chews up and spits out kids, they said, hey, you know what? We want you to be like us. We're the people that have come through the gaming industry, and we've ended up at this top echelon, and we're up here, and we're working hard, and we're making great content. And they said, you know what? They're obviously not going to pay them shitloads of money. They're still going to pay them these out of college rates, but at least the promise is there that they're picking and choosing who they're taking in, and they're kind of cultivating them, because in the long run, the more people that are brilliant in this industry, the better it is for everybody, and the better it is for the games that come out. It's better for the consumer. It's better for the companies involved. So I think this is awesome. Rich Barham, just pure awesome.
Yeah, he's industry gold, I guess, if you look at his resume, what he's been with. So hopefully they can turn this into something great. I think the key here is them developing a great game. Can they develop a great game with what is essentially, I don't even want to use this term, but interns of the industry? I hope that's the case. I hope through his tutelage and what his knowledge has, that they can build these talents. The only fear that when you read something like this is that obviously they're going to create great talents, and these talents are going to fucking skip town because they're going to be worth something, leaving Octopus 8 in sort of a weird state of continuously having lower than great talent. So I don't know how that sort of thing pans out, but it is a tough thing. It's a tough thing to find great developers nowadays. Usually it's, again, they work really, really hard. Their game gets published. By the time it gets published, then there's no need for all these developers, so they get fired, and then they find themselves somewhere else, and this cycle repeats. So I don't know if that solves that problem that's kind of inherent with game design, but at least it's creating new people within the industry. So
and it helps to solve the burnout problem, I think, without just riding these guys into their literal graves.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so moving on, and I will butcher this guy's name, so I apologize up front, but piracy inspires No Time to Explain developer to publish next-gen game for free. This is via Joystick. Quote, I am pirating Battlefield 4 right now, end quote. An email from Tiny Build Games Alex Nichiporchik. I'm going with Nichiporchik.
That's how you're going to go with that?
I'm going with Nichiporchik. How would you say his last name? Nick Porchik?
Nichiporchik?
We're
Now you sound Mexican.
I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to call him Pork Chop for the rest of this title, so I apologize up front. That may seem strange as a way to introduce a discussion about piracy, and it is, but Pork Chop wanted to make a point. Piracy, he argues, is not black and white issue. In fact, it's because of piracy that Tiny Build Games will be publishing its new version of Speedrunners, a multiplayer-focused game developed by Double Dutch Games, where you play as a superhero racing other heroes to the scene of a crime for free. He explains that the decision to release a version of Speedrunners for free was due to the pirating community's reaction to their last game. And this is pretty cool what they did. But during the pre-Steam release, quote, of No Time to Explain, we simply created a version with pirate hats and put that on the Pirate Bay. So it's kind of ironic, right? You download this hacked game, and when you boot it up, instead of being the normal guys, everyone's got pirate hats because you pirated it. So that's actually pretty funny. Quote, did it hurt us? Probably not. We got dozens of emails from people who found it via the Pirate Bay. And of course, their coverage of the spikes, or their coverage of it spiked sales. But don't buy into our developers blaming piracy for lost sales. It's just silly, end quote. And basically, when the press covered it, they got a big bump. So they're kind of seeing piracy in a new light, I guess. The free version of Speedrunners that Tiny Build plans to launch won't be the full game, mind you. Now, here's where things kind of seem how they already are on Steam and stuff like that. Nikiporchek wrote that he believes players will spend money, sometimes eagerly so, as long as they see a value in the service that's being provided. In the case of Battlefield 4, as everyone knows, that service is probably multiplayer. That's what you buy it for, and that's to keep the servers running and all that stuff. That's what you're paying for. Nikiporchek wrote that he's pirating the game to see if Battlefield 4 runs on his computer. If it does, he'll be happy, and then he'll buy the game off of Origin, which is kind of fair in a way, but it's like downloading a trial or anything that you've seen in the past. In the case of speedrunners, that service is going to be the online multiplayer. The free version will only support the local multiplayer and offline bots. So, I don't know. I feel like this model isn't that new. But what are your thoughts?
It's definitely not a new model.
No.
But I think what it is this particular developer is saying they were traditionally a developer that created a product, sold it for a certain amount of money, and then there was no trials, there was no free version, there was no microtransaction, there was no Project $10 to play online. So what they did is they with the previous game, they put it out on the Pirate Bay. They saw their past games had seen a certain amount of piracy, so they put this one out there with the pirate hats. And I think the article said that they actually got messages from people that had pirated the game and telling them, "Hey, I pirated this and I love the game, and now I'm buying it because it's awesome." And I think that's really what spurred this model from them. They said, "You know what? The games being out there is not such a bad thing because if people like it, they'll buy it." It's the same reason why. Despite some of us, I'm not saying anyone in particular, but despite some of us that liberally downloaded music for a long, long time, there are certain artists that you would always support. Like I own every Fish CD that ever was. Fish is a great band, and I want to support them. And that's kind of how this works is when you see someone's work and effort and it's something you appreciate, despite your ability to get it for free, you're willing to go out and pay for it. And I think that's what they're showing here. And just the Steam model they're using is something that other companies have been familiar with, but not everybody comes in that way. You could never tell Activision like, "Hey, just give away Battlefield 4." It doesn't work that way. Or no, EA to give away Battlefield 4 or Activision to give away Call of Duty. They wouldn't do that, even if they were getting the $10 on the back end for multiplayer. It's not their model. That's not how they work. So when people move from that selling model to this, trial model or the almost all the features model, it's a big step for these companies. And I think this is good shit.
Well, I think a model like this works really well for new up and coming. And I could even say it like this. This model works really well for new IPs because people are less likely to give new IPs a chance. The reason that, obviously Battlefield doesn't have to do it, Call of Duty doesn't have to do it, is because you pretty much know what you're getting and you're excited to buy those games because you're invested in those games. When a new company comes along and they say, "Hey, I have this great idea for this awesome game. Do you want to give me $60, sight unseen and play it?" Usually the answer is no. And then if it isn't the greatest game ever, then they feel offended. They never want to buy from that company again, or they never want to buy into that IP again. I think doing a model like this, which I don't think is new, but it's a good model because it basically says, "Hey, try the game. If you like the game, you can play the game." This is a Steam sort of, if you've ever played any game on Steam, especially coming from more of the lower cost, like AA titles, we'll call them, is normal. Let's try the game. Let's play the game. Do you like the game? Now give me your money. It works really well. Obviously, you can't go for a money grab and start, nickel and diming people for downloadable content because things get really fishy then. But at least, it's a good way to get involved and be a part of that IP. Then maybe you decide to spend your money. So, yeah, I don't think it's anything new, but it seems to be the way things are going because the market is saturated. There's so many developers now. And mobile, that line between mobile and, Steam one-off games is sort of blurring with the arcade and all that stuff. So I think we'll just see more of this as we go.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Moving on into the WTF. And I hate saying this. God, can we do 1 week where we're not shitting on the Wii? I don't think it's possible anymore.
No, it's impossible.
No.
It's the thing you accidentally shit out when you're trying to hold one in.
It's true.
It's the Hershey squirt of consoles.
Ah, that's depressing. Wii and Wii U sales make up 1% of EA's total sales. Ouch. As part of its release of financial results from the second fiscal quarter, EA revealed that the Wii and Wii U both account for a little over 1% of the company's total sales, while PC game sales are its top segment. That's pretty odd, too. PC sales, top segment. EA said that Wii and Wii U games accounted for 1.3% of EA Software's revenues for last fiscal quarter. Of the $695 million in revenue earned from combined sales of console, mobile, and PC software, about $9 million of that came from the actual Wii and Wii U software. PC software actually accounted for 39.4% of total sales. Xbox 360 took in 24%, and the PS3 took in 18.8%. Mobile games accounted for 10%, and other, whatever that is, brought in the 3.6%. The Wii and the Wii U weren't the only segments that didn't bring in big numbers for the publisher. PlayStation handhelds, which I think you would probably assume, only generated 1% of sales as well, but that's the handhelds versus both consoles for the Wii, which is
one of the
insane.
consoles being the console that sold millions, hundreds of millions of units this generation.
And then even more ironically, the handheld of Nintendo, the DS, sold 0.7%. So DS itself almost matched both consoles of the Nintendo. And finally, the PS2, which accounted for only 0.3%, but that's to be expected. The data, of course, was a part of EA's financial second quarter for the 3-month period between July and September. The company reported $273 million loss for the quarter on net revenue of $695 million. Despite the net loss, the company's numbers for the quarter were 28% improvement over the same period a year ago. So, I don't know. More bad news, or I can't even do this anymore. Can't even do it anymore.
This exemplifies everything we're trying to say. This is insane. So, and I'm going to make a caveat where you said PC led, but really, if you compare PC to
Both
the
consoles,
combination of the Xbox and the PlayStation, it's not as much.
It's not as much.
They have a higher percentage together than the PC, but the quantities here for what amount to, and let's look at all of Nintendo's consoles. So you have the Wii, the Wii U, and the DS. The DS has hundreds of millions of units out there too. Like we said, as many units as people in the world. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Across now, granted, that's the DS, the 85 iterations of DS, the 3DS, the 3DS XL, the new 2DS. I'm a loser baby that can't fold a screen, all this other shit. But that's a shitload of consoles out there. So between them, that's 1.3 and 0.7. So that's 2% of all sales in the consoles that have the most units out there. Now, I actually am pretty impressed by the 1% sales for PlayStation's
Me
handhelds,
too.
because nobody buys them.
Nope.
There's not a lot of them out there. Like
3
we have
people
a
own
here,
them.
but it's not a huge install base. So to have 1% go to that, and it's, oh my God, it would be like if you said that people that own Lamborghinis had the same amount of, they bought the same amount of cereal as the people that drive Ford Fiestas. Like, it's insane. Like, there's so many more people that drive Ford Fiestas than Lamborghinis, and they could never buy the same amount of anything. And it's just that sort of a comparison. It's insane. I think it's just more writing on the wall for Nintendo, where their shit is just fucked. Nobody wants their shit. They can spin it. Reggie can come out and be like, we did pretty okay this quarter, and we're going to do even better next quarter. We're sorry we let you gamers down, but we're going to do it better. We're going to make you feel better. We're going to make it right for you. Well, fuck you, Reggie. You're a douche. Just fucking fix your shit. Let other people fucking have your games on their hardware. Stop being a bitch.
Wow.
End quote.
End quote. There you go. Yeah. Put that in gold. That's, yeah.
Take that, joystick and Kotaku. You can run that on your homepage. Reggie, stop being a bitch.
Yeah, and for me, it exemplifies a what the fuck, because this is a what the fuck because of this reason. Every week we're saying something about. I saw it as what the fuck because I'm tired of writing about Nintendo. I don't want to do another fucking vidcast about Nintendo. I don't want anyone to hear about Nintendo. I don't want the fucking streamers to hear about it. I don't want the fucking people in chat to talk about it. Get your shit together. All right? I'm done. Give me something exciting to talk about. Uplift me, Nintendo. Give me something.
Something different.
Something. Shame. Shameful.
All right. Well, on that, why don't we hop over into the mailbag and voicemails? Altius asks, the new console releases are less than 2 weeks away. Now that it's so close that you can taste it, what are you most excited about for each console?
Call of Duty. Call of Duty.
You're really just a baiter. You're a master baiter.
That's true. What are you looking forward to? Because obviously you're getting Nintendo, you're getting Nintendo. See, it's on the brain now. Sony first, so.
Yeah, the PS4 is coming first. Honestly, I still don't know what my launch game is for the PS4.
Me neither.
I just don't know.
I'm in that same boat. Like, I'm going to get this. It's going to be so weird because I'm going to get the system and I'm just going to have it and be like, I don't know. Killzone? I don't even like Killzone. So, like, I'm not going to get it.
There's just not. right away, there's not the right titles. But if you don't get it right away, there's no guarantee you're going to have it when those titles come.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
That's why I got it.
So, and this is what kind of fucked people with the last console release, where some people didn't get the PS3 right away, and by the time they got one, they had missed like 3 of the hot games, and everybody was behind. You can't miss out on that release. So you get the PS4. You start out, and there are going to be games, and worst case scenario, fucking red box it, rent something, just tide yourself over. And there's going to be all these full 1080p HD games on the PlayStation Store that you can pull down. The basically the equivalent of Xbox Live Arcade games, but next gen ones for the PlayStation. So those are going to be out there. So I guess that's what I'd be looking for most on the PS4.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that I would play Call of Duty on the PS4, but I know that most of my friends are going to be on the Xbox, so you just can't do that.
Right. That's what makes PS4 so weird, because a lot of the titles you would pick up, you would probably pick up, unless it's that's where we live in that PS4 world, is that unless it's an exclusive, it's very unlikely that we'd buy it for PS4. I think that goes for both of us, because our community sits in the Xbox level. So it's like we wouldn't buy anything like Last of Us and all these other types of games. Yes, that's we'd buy, but that's because we can't get them anywhere else.
Exactly. So we're waiting for the right exclusives. And now, as far as the Xbox goes, there are too many things I'm excited about to name. I'm excited to see the TV integration. I know that people shit on that, but you know what?
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't wait to have that. That is going to be the nicest thing. And just even for the most simple fact of never switching TV inputs. I can be watching TV. I can fucking switch the Xbox. I can fucking stick my TV over here and play my game here. I can be in matchmaking here. I can have fucking a web browser over here. All on my TV, all of my voice. Like, you shit on fucking Next Gen Connect all you want. We've seen this shit in action. This thing is fucking God mode. It can read your fucking heartbeat when you're standing there. It's like, I don't even know how this thing works. It's fucking psycho magic. But I can't wait to be able, and for those of you that question the voice capabilities of this thing, we watched it work in the middle of E3 show floor, and not like a pre-stage demo, like people coming up and trying the console with 75,000. I don't even know how many thousand people were there, but there's a lot of crowd noise, and this thing is working like nobody's business. So don't you worry about that. I'm just that part I'm looking forward to, and I can't wait to just actually play games on it, because that controller. You took the 360 controller, which was the greatest controller the world has ever known, and now you have made it just that you thought you had perfection, and then someone was like, "Oh, you like tits? Well, how about tits and a pussy?" And you're like, "Oh, yeah, that's what I was missing." So that's what you're going to get with this controller: tits and a pussy.
Wow, that's 2 things that every man needs. Yep. Now, if those tits and pussy,
no one's saying no to either,
and then you're fucking gold. So yeah. No, I mean, yeah, and I agree too. I mean, that's.
What about you, Jay?
I feel this exactly the same way. I mean, Battlefield 4 will be my launch title, because that's the way I have decided things will go, and that will also be on the 360 or on the One. So really, I'm relegated to, and I was actually just going over the launch titles for the PS4. There are not many. There's Flower, no, thank you. Killzone, maybe. Knack, don't care. Resogun, don't care. Then you start getting into the titles that are, obviously shared between both, which, Angry Birds, don't care about that. Assassin's Creed, no thank you. Call of Duty Ghosts, I think you're bad if you play it. FIFA, Battlefield 4, yes. Just Dance, don't care. Lego Marvel Superheroes, already shared. Madden, NBA, and Pinball Arcade. Those are the confirmed ones. So, kind of leaves me sort of wondering. Maybe I'll get Killzone just because I'll have 2 weeks to kill, pun intended, before I get the Xbox One. So that's...
Jay, I got an idea. Maybe.
Okay.
Because we have no friends that play FIFA. Maybe you and I could both.
Oh
get
my
FIFA
God!
On the PS4, we could play fucking FIFA with each other.
It'll be me, you, and Drake. Oh, maybe that's what's gonna happen. Maybe we'll do. Maybe our next podcast for the week, we'll just have FIFA inlaid, and we'll just play FIFA, and everyone could watch us play FIFA. We'll discuss FIFA. It'll be great. We both know nothing of soccer.
The lower corner, and we'll talk the show over the top while we're playing. Maybe we'll get Drake on, special guest.
Yeah, we'll see. If it's FIFA, he might. You never know. If you entice him with soccer. Ooh.
Drake cannot get enough fucking
soccer. Can't.
This guy eats, breathes, sleeps, fucking comes soccer.
He does. 2 soccer balls in his pants at all times.
Yep. He had his actual testicles replaced with soccer balls.
And if you ask Drake, he'd say, "I didn't replace them with soccer balls. I replaced them with footballs, bitch." Because he is that deep.
Oh, that's right. He would never
say soccer. No, football.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
the shit.
Got a little off target there, but that's what we're doing for our launch titles, guys. That's, yeah.
All right.
You're welcome.
We spiraled out of control.
There you go.
All right. Well, if you have feedback like Altius, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Email us at podcast@toolsplay.com. You can also comment on this episode's thread on the Tools Play homepage. And this is episode 16. Sponsors. Remember, if you want to sponsor us, we're looking for you to pay us some money, and we'll pimp your shit. And we're going to tell people it's the greatest thing ever. Even if it's not. Even if you have substandard shit, something that's dangerous. If you build houses that are dangerous to live in, but you pay us, we're going to sell the shit out of your houses. We're going to tell people, move in with your families and your babies and move in there. Because it's comfy and warm. And it's warm because it's on fire. But you know what? They paid us.
Wow.
And there's some exemption we have from the law because it's a contractual thing. But really, if you have something to sell, we'll sell it for you. We'll tell you if you're going to pay us. You'll pay us. Boom. Done. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related at twitter.com/tool to play. Everything podcast related at twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the internet, god of everything that's fucking holy, am at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
And I am, of course, I'm at twitter.com/dude I rock.
Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/tool to play. Facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/dude I rock.
Also, we have this little thing called a YouTube channel, and it's got all the great video content that you love from all of Tool to Play's great shows, like Still Got Game, other shows like Thick and Thin, Quick Hits, or whatever that's called nowadays from Hitman. It's got a whole bunch of one-off shows, and sometimes we just have random interviews and other stuff we pull from E3, and then it all ends up there. So you know what you want to do? You want to go to youtube.com/toolplay, click the subscribe button. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't even, it's not downloading your phone. It's not pushing it to you. It's just there. And you're a subscriber. Helps us, helps you. Boom. Done. Please rate and review this podcast in iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Tell people we're gods. Tell people we shit diamonds. We fucking piss awesome juice all over you. We fucking come the semen of love all over you. I don't care what you tell them. It doesn't matter. You just tell them that this show is the show. That's the shit. You can't get enough. This is what you look forward to every week. You can't get enough of it. Right, Jay?
Goddamn straight, bitches.
Yes. This is, we hear enough from you, like either privately or we run you at cons and you're like, oh my God, I love your show. It's so awesome. I can't get enough of it. Thank you so much. I get so much enjoyment of it. And then I go look at the show comments and on iTunes and I don't see any feedback from you. I don't see 5 stars. I don't see your comment, which means either you're blowing smoke up our ass or, you're too busy fucking rubbing one out in your flashlight because the show's so awesome that you didn't have time to do your comment. You know what? Take a break, skip nutting this week and fucking leave the comment on iTunes. Okay, please.
God, everyone hates iTunes.
I know.
Fuckers.
All right. Join us each and every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/toolplay. We do this bitch live, which is why it sounds like this and it's kind of fucked up and it's not really the best quality show. But it's what makes the show that becomes better on YouTube,
Wednesdays,
slightly better on YouTube and much better on iTunes. But if you get involved live, you're in the chat room here. This is where all the good shit happened tonight. We took comments from people. We did feedback. While I was talking, Jay was responding to people. While Jay was talking, I was responding to people. We brought some of that feedback in the show. Everything got better because there are people here. And we definitely don't have as many people as we'd like watching the show. So just join us. 7 p.m. Eastern. What do you got better to do? If you're in the West Coast, it's 4 p.m. You got an hour left in the office? Hop on. Piss away your last hour. Fuck the company. Fuck those bitches.
They're not giving you what you want out of life.
No, but we are.
We are.
We're giving you that content that's 5-star content.
Happiness abounds. And also, we've been talking about getting the chat room more involved as well. So maybe next week, or I don't know, we've been talking about maybe having one of our news pieces have a direct conversation with the people in chat. Now, the people in chat can be vulgar, so maybe you people that are currently not in chat could come in and get the quality level up, right? Because that's what we're looking for. Quality comments.
People are bitches.
People are bitches. I don't like any of them.
Yep.
Not even Hit.
No, he still has not provided us a animated Rocket Bros fractal list.
Exactly.
Yes. Audio is fine. We just less fractals, more game related shit. All right, and on that, why don't we wrap this episode up? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
Fucking shitty, baddie, horrible gamer.